Hey Commanders fans, get ready, because today we have exclusive news about our team, and you can't miss a single detail. So take advantage and subscribe to the channel, activate the bell to receive everything firsthand, and of course, leave a like to strengthen our support and show that there are only true fans here. Our commitment is to always bring you the latest updates, news, and everything that goes on behind the scenes at Commanders. So, without further ado, let's check out today's news. Commanders could surprise with big-time trade for defensive star in 2025. First-round Hey, Commanders fans. The NFL world's attention will be on Green Bay, Wisconsin tonight, as the highly anticipated first round of the 2025 NFL Draft finally begins. And while the Washington Commanders won't be in the mix until later tonight, there are hot rumors that the team could make a splash with a bold trade involving a defensive star. Since the new regime took over the franchise a little over a year ago, the Commanders have impressed with strategic and aggressive decisions both on and off the field. Expect that approach to continue in this year's draft, even with the team holding only the 29th overall pick, one of the last in the first round. It's worth noting that Washington has already been quite active this offseason, making big-name trades to bolster its roster. The team brought in offensive tackle Laramie Tunsil and wide receiver Deebo Samuel, two elite players who naturally reduced the number of draft picks available. But according to new reports, the front office may not be satisfied yet, and may be preparing another masterstroke. According to the trade website Pro Football Focus, the Commanders are considering using their first-round pick as a trade chip to acquire edge rusher Trey Hendrickson from the Cincinnati Bengals. In the simulated trade scenario, Washington would still receive the 81st overall pick, third round, from the Bengals, which would increase the team's draft capital, in addition to bringing in a top-tier defensive talent. Hendrickson, who recorded an impressive 17.5 sacks in each of the last two seasons, has been the subject of speculation after expressing dissatisfaction with his contract situation in Cincinnati. The player was hoping for an extension before entering the final year of his contract. He will be a free agent in 2026. But the Bengals prioritized re-signing their top wide receivers this offseason, leaving Hendrickson out of the running. While the Cincinnati team has expressed interest in keeping the player, there are also indications that they are open to hearing offers, although the asking price for Hendrickson is still considered high by many analysts. Commanders expected to pick rising cornerback in latest mock draft. The Washington Commanders have done a fantastic job building their roster under general manager Adam Peters and head coach Dan Quinn, and they'll look to do so again when they pick the 29th overall pick in the first round. The Commanders could go in a number of directions in the first round. They could stay with the same team and take the best player available, decide to move up a division and sign someone they find appealing, or move down a division to build draft capital. In ESPN's latest mock draft, where NFL Nation writers picked the respective teams, John Keim said the Commanders will stay put and select rising Kentucky cornerback Maxwell Hairston. Washington would love to build a strong offensive line and find an edge rusher and running back, but they can address those needs later in the draft, Keim wrote. In Hairston, the Commanders gain another young cornerback who can play on the outside with ball skills, 6 interceptions in 2 years, short area quickness, and competitiveness. He gives them a player who can help in backup packages and become a starter at some point. Hairston's production won't be as impressive, but he has shown that he has what it takes to become a regular starter in the NFL with some development. Hairston plays under control, has long arms, and uses his impressive ball skills in both man and zone coverage. With great instincts, he anticipates routes well and tracks receivers to maintain them. While Hairston is a complete cornerback who should eventually become an every-down player, he needs to become more consistent in locating the ball downfield and will likely struggle initially when playing with stronger wide receivers, run support, and open field tackles. Hairston has risen in the draft rankings and would give Washington depth at the position behind Marshawn Lattimore, Mike Sainristil, and Noah Igbinoghene. The Commanders' only Achilles heel last season was defense, and further solidifying their secondary allows them to get youth at the position and have some wiggle room throughout the remainder of the draft. Impressive development opens door for Commanders to volatile WR trade. Adam Peters has traded away several key players in the draft in recent months. The Washington Commanders are ahead of the curve, leaving the general manager confident enough to make big moves for Marshawn Lattimore, Deebo Samuel Sr., and Laramie Tunsil. Those were big statements of intent that have every team taking this sleeping giant seriously. It would be surprising if the Commanders were to get involved in the trade market again, unless they were looking for more picks. At the same time, Peters was quick to keep everything on the table during his pre-draft media availability. Commanders should be cautious about potential George Pickens trade. One surprising development comes with more intrigue than most. According to Fox Sports' Jordan Schultz, multiple teams have contacted the Pittsburgh Steelers about the availability of wide receiver George Pickens. Nothing has been confirmed, and they may be reluctant to sell when the going gets tough, but it's something Peters could monitor if the price is right. Several teams have mentioned Steelers wide receiver George Pickens in trade talks, and he's one to watch this week. Pittsburgh isn't actively interested in him, but talks have already taken place. Pickens is entering the final year of his contract. Jordan Schultz. The Commanders could use another dynamic weapon for Daniels. Pickens is talented. There's no denying that. He's also a volatile character who needs to be managed effectively. A lot will depend on the compensation involved. The Steelers haven't expressed much interest in removing the former Georgia standout from the equation. At the same time, they recently traded for DK Metcalf, so paying him after this season doesn't seem financially feasible. Peters could be looking at the draft for another pass catcher. He traded for Samuel and still needs to re-sign Terry McLaurin, with just 1 year left on his contract. But there's no doubt that Pickens represents something different than what the Commanders currently have. With 174 receptions for 2,141 yards and 12 touchdowns during his 3-year NFL career, Pickens brings proven production. He also just turned 24, so it's likely that the wide receiver is just beginning to understand what he's capable of. Whether Pickens fits into the culture is anyone's guess. He's temperamental when things are going his way. Mike Tomlin has a good handle on him personality-wise, but that might not be as easy for others. Dan Quinn has worked hard to improve the locker room dynamic in Washington. Pickens' petulance would not be tolerated. That makes this a risky trade, even if the Commanders had the resources available to pull it off. It would be extremely surprising if the Commanders took the plunge. But Peters has proven more than once this offseason that nothing should be completely ruled out.